So Adult Swim just dropped a ton of news and information at the Annecy Film Festival about their upcoming slate, and I gotta say, there is a lot to be excited about for the future of adult animation. There are tons of renewals like Smiling Friends and Common Side Effects, but also a bunch of really new, unique projects, some from creators you probably all know, so let's run all of it down. First of all, I know a lot of people have been begging me to talk about Common Side Effects, and I know I haven't yet, but that show is a masterpiece. It's beautiful, it's incredible. I will make a video about it on the main channel before season 2, but luckily that show has been renewed for a second season, and as they've announced here, the first script from Common Side Effects season 2 is done, has been turned in, so that's very exciting. It also probably means we've got like 2 years to wait until season 2, which is a bummer, but it is all just very exciting news. That is a show that really expanded what adult animation can do. I think it's moving in new directions and new exciting directions that we haven't seen in Adult Swim before. It's got more of a thrillery vibe, a more existential, philosophical vibe in addition to its comedic tones. It's kind of intense, it's kind of actiony. It is such a fun, cool, unique new show. I am beyond excited that we're getting a season 2, and I hope we get more seasons beyond that, but I also hope the team has like an endpoint they want to write to. I hope that it's like maybe a 3-4 season show and they write to a conclusion that is, you know, satisfying for everybody. Speaking of satisfying conclusions, Primal season 3 is a thing. I don't know if you guys realize this, but it's releasing in early 2026, which I think for a lot of the people who have watched Primal's season 1 and 2 is maybe a little confusing because it sounds like season 2 wrapped up things in kind of a neat little bow, and it's like, well, what are we doing here? Are we really gonna do another season? I've heard rumors that season 3 is maybe a bit more of an anthology type thing, that maybe it's following new characters, but I'm not 100% sure. But at Annecy, Gendy said that season 3 is a new level and that he's rarely been this proud of a project, so hopefully that bodes well. I'm pretty excited. Honestly, I'm excited to see anything Gendy makes in the Primal verse, even if that story was wrapped up really nicely. I'm just pretty stoked that we don't actually have to wait very long for season 3 to start. Early 2026, crazy. We've also gotten news about Smiling Friends. Season 3 is coming this fall. We've also learned that it is going to have 10 episodes instead of the previous 8. People are huge fans of Smiling Friends. That seems to be one of the biggest new hits in Adult Swim's library and lineup. And they also gave us news that seasons 4 and 5 have been greenlit and are on the way. That's pretty cool. A 2-season renewal for a show like Smiling Friends is really exciting. And they're probably going to have 10 episodes each season, so we've got at least 30 episodes on the horizon for Smiling Friends. Anything beyond that remains to be seen. The co-creator of Smiling Friends, Zach Cadell, talked a little bit about the renewal on Twitter and about what we can expect for the future of the franchise. He said, Mykal R. Cusack and I decided very early on we didn't want the show to overstay its welcome or get stale, and we intend to stick by that. I don't know how long we'll go on for, but I'm really proud of what we've created, and I'm excited for everyone to see what's in store for this season. So I think that means we probably shouldn't expect a ton beyond season 5. 30 additional episodes coming up is not nothing. That's a pretty substantial amount of content to make. I know it maybe seems small compared to the old times in television, but you know, I expect that maybe we would get a couple more seasons beyond that. It depends on how inspired they are and what stories they want to tell, and if they feel like they have anything more to say after these seasons come out. So I'm excited that that's their attitude, though, that not to let it overstay its welcome, especially some shows currently running that people feel like have overstayed their welcome. So we'll see. There's also a pretty interesting new show coming out on August 16th called Women Wearing Shoulder Pads. This is Adult Swim's first Spanish language series, and it's also stop motion animated. It looks pretty cool. It is a Mexican co-production, and it is created by Gonzalo Cordova, who is a writer on Tuca and Birdie, Undone, and Fired on Mars. I think it looks really interesting. The animation style is cool. Just everything about the pitch is very unique, very Adult Swim, very different than what we might expect. It's been a little while since we've gotten a stop motion show on Adult Swim, but I guess they're kind of known for it between, you know, Robot Chicken and Moral Oral and The Shivering Truth, that kind of stuff. So I'm looking forward to that one. I'm excited to check it out next month, or in 2 months, August. There's also a special animated project coming out for Adult Swim called The Elephant. This sounds crazy. This is a special that will have 3 acts, and each act will be overseen by different creators without any knowledge or input of what the other creators are creating. And the 3 creators working on this are, one act is going to be done by Rebecca Sugar and Ian Jones-Quartey, one act will be done by Pendleton Ward, and one act will be done by Patrick Mykal. Now, obviously, all 3 of these teams have all been a part of Adventure Time at some point. That's kind of the big connection. Pendleton Ward created it. Patrick Mykal was their creative director for a while. Rebecca Sugar has written so much music for Adventure Time. She's a huge part of that creative team. But Patrick Mykal is obviously also the creator of Over the Garden Wall, one of my favorite animated projects ever ever of all time. And Rebecca Sugar and Ian JQ, OKKO, Let's Be Heroes, Steven Universe, and now the upcoming Steven Universe Lars from the Stars. I'm pretty stoked to see this special. It sounds really interesting. And it also feels like it could lead to them doing this exact kind of project with other creators. I know we talked about Genndy Tartakovsky previously with Primal, but he actually also has an additional project coming to Adult Swim. It's a new animated series called Heist Safari. It is described as a high-octane action comedy that follows three frog brothers as they attempt to rob a bank. That sounds so great. Way, way, way up my alley. Like, truly could not be more up my alley. High octane action comedy is what you want from Genndy. That sounds really fun. But also Frog Brothers, like, is this going to be an animal world? This is just going to be, I think, an exciting thing. And it's interesting because this probably sounds like it's like a mini series, right? Because if it's just about robbing a bank, unless it's about the aftermath of actually robbing the bank. So we'll see. That'll be fun. We've also got news that the show Ninja Kamui, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, has been renewed for seasons 2 and 3. Now, I know a lot of people liked this show when it began, but kind of turned on it by the end of season 1. That's what I've heard about it. So I don't know how excited people are about seasons 2 and 3 renewal for this show. Maybe it can right the ship with 2 more seasons. Remains to be seen. I haven't seen it. I don't really even know what it's about, but let me know below in the comments what you think about that. We had also previously gotten news that Rick and Morty has been renewed through season 12. Previously, they had that huge 70 episode pickup after season 3 that would renew them through season 10. Then last year, we got news that they've been picked up for seasons 11 and 12. I feel like we should not expect Rick and Morty to end anytime soon. I honestly feel like it could probably just keep going after 12, but it is interesting because I feel like even though this show is still one of their biggest hits and has waned in interest over the last few years, it's still one of their biggest hits. And there's really no denying that. And so I feel like Adult Swim is partially trying to move on from the Rick and Morty era and move into new things. They're renewing things like Smiling Friends. They're renewing things like Common Side Effects. They're doing more shows that can hopefully move them into the future and expand into new territory. But they also are, obviously going to still be in the business of Rick and Morty, because that show, even at its lower viewership compared to what it was doing previously, is still probably a huge hit comparatively to most of their other shows. I mean, it still does better ratings than even their next most popular show, which is saying a lot. So it'll be interesting. And then there's this other show pickup that is probably the strangest to me in this entire lineup. It is a show called Keeping Up with the Joneses. I'm gonna say from the art here, this does not look like an Adult Swim show. It looks like a Fox show. And frankly, the premise kind of sounds like it was pitched at Fox and they said no. I'm gonna read this to you here. It's just a very strange idea. The 10-episode, half-hour show will chronicle the Newberry family of Dallas as they try to keep up with their staggeringly wealthy neighbors, including Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones, who lives next door. The animated version of Jones will be a character in the series, though voiced by an actor not by Jones himself. Weird, right? That's a weird premise. Jerry Jones is such a specific rich guy to put into this kind of show. It's interesting that it'll be set in Texas, especially with the King of the Hill revival coming back. It'll be a very different kind of Texas comedy, I think. But I don't know. This is just a strange thing to use a real life person like Jerry Jones as your framing device. Is like, we need to keep up with our rich neighbors. The art looks a lot like stuff you might see on Fox. I'm just confused by this premise for an Adult Swim show. It seems very strange, but I don't know. Maybe it'll surprise us. Maybe it'll be a lot weirder than it seems like it will be. That seems like a possibility. I'm willing to give it a shot, but I will say I'm a little confused by this one. And I gotta say, with all of this exciting news and all of these great renewals and all of these cool new projects, I still just really, really wish Adult Swim would give Venture Brothers another season. I'm gonna probably just cry about this every chance I get. That is one of your earliest, best, coolest, most original series on Adult Swim. It got screwed over by the mergers and Zaslav, and I just don't understand why they aren't picking it back up and throwing it back into the mix. I'm pretty sure the creators want to do more of it. The finale movie was good, but there's so many more stories to tell, and it definitely didn't end on a note that's like, oh, this is definitively an end. We could definitely do more. So I hope that Venture Brothers gets saved and renewed, and we get a season 8, and we can move forward with more Venture Brothers. What do you guys think about all of these projects that have been announced for Adult Swim, all of the renewals, all of the new ones, all the things we're not seeing? Let me know below in the comments, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace.
I stay mellow watching Johnny two cellos. He talks cartoons, he's a really cool fellow. He keeps you posted on adult cartoons. If that's what you're into, then grab a spoon and a very big bowl of your favorite cereal. Feels like Saturday morning cartoon material. Johnny two cellos, watch him on YouTube. Now enjoy this groove and bust a move.